So we are looking at an introduction to exponents. Okay, can somebody tell me what an exponent is? Or what it looks like? Yes, ma'am.
It'd be like a number, and then another number, a little small number at the top.
A little small number at the top, right. Exponents talk about a process for you. If it says 2 to the 4th, it's not 2 times 4. It's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, like it's written here, which is how we got 16. 2 times 2 times 2, that's what gives us 8. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which gives us 4. Now, the directions for these are below. So we're going to kind of answer these questions as we're going through. Yes, it is, Miss Primley. Thank you. Yes. Yes, you do. Okay, so if we read the first question, what happens in the left-hand column? What's going on? So if we look at the far left, we see that what is staying the same? What's happening to that exponent currently?
It's getting smaller.
It's getting smaller each time. It's going down by 1. So what do you think the next one would be?
2 to the 1.
2 to the 1. And what is happening in our center column?
How many numbers is in the exponent?
It's kind of telling us how to follow directions, right? It's telling us how many times we're multiplying it. So in the left-hand column, we're decreasing the exponent by 1. It's also right here, if that helps, Jeff. Okay. And in the center column, it's showing us what the exponent's doing. I want to say this, Miss Murphy's handwriting doesn't get better than this. So, if you can't read something, please let me know. I will happily repeat myself. Alright. Hopefully this will, not sure why it's not scrolling down. Okay. So we can see what's happening in the right column. It's the answer. And it's going down by what? 16 to 8, we went down by how much? Half. The answer is decreasing by half. All right, so what I want you guys to do is fill out the rest of the left-hand column on your own. Fill out the rest of the left-hand column on your own. The one with the exponents, yep. We get 2 to the 1. To the 0. What would come after 2 to the 0? What's 1 less than 0? 2 to the negative 1. What comes after that?
What?
2 to the negative 2. 2 to the negative 3. And 2 to the negative 4.
Can I have a pencil, please? Or use a pencil? Can I have another sheet of paper, too?
I do not have another one of those, but you can cross it out and just read it next to it. Okay, so we're going to we're going to skip over that middle column and describe the pattern we would see on the far right. What is 2 to the first power? 2. All right, do you see how they're all going by half? So I know this isn't the way. Okay, so we went 16 to 8, 8 to 4, 4 to 2. What will come next? 2 to, what's half of 2? 1. What's half of 1? If I take 1 and break it in half, what do I get? A half. Okay, now this is a harder part. What's half of a half? A quarter. Good. 1/4. What's half of a quarter? What's half of an eighth? There you go. Do you guys see the pattern? It went 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, a half, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16. Okay? It is half the previous number. Okay. So I'm going to move all of this, guys. So this is all going to go away. Does anybody need another second to write this down? We filled in for number 2. For number 3, we said it is half the previous of each. The right column and the left column are all filled out. We've written everything as a fraction. We are on number 5, but I can't see it on here, so my board is being crazy. So I'm going to have to erase all this.
What was number 4?
Number 4, you just had to write it as a fraction. If you read the problems, just fill it out and make sure everything's as a fraction. Oh, I love technology. It's so much fun. Yeah, the eraser's not working right now. I'm not sure why. Okay, so, oops. I'm going to move this. All right. So we're looking at 5 and 6, and you guys will kind of have to look back and forth for me. Hopefully you've written all this down. If we look at the top and bottom rows, describe any comparison. So let's look on the far left of number 1. So we've got 2 to the 4th and 2 to the negative 4th. They're the same except one is negative, right? So we're going to write that down for number 5. The left hand column, top and bottom row are the same, except one is negative and one is positive. All right, what about the far right-hand column? Let's look at the top and the bottom row of the far right-hand column. What is different about them? Yes? What do we call it when we take a number and we flip it so it becomes a fraction? I heard the word reciprocal, okay? The right column, top, bottom is the reciprocal of the top. The right column's bottom is the reciprocal of the top. Okay, let's look at the second row and the second from the bottom row. Describe any comparisons you can make. What can we make about these? The same kind of thing, right? We could say this exact same thing for number 2. The left-hand column, top and bottom row are the same except one is negative and one is positive. The right column bottom is the reciprocal of the top. Okay. All right, I am going to flip the page over. If anybody's missing any of this, I do have it handwritten down so I can show somebody after we're done. Okay, So if we're looking at the back, can we fill out these patterns just like we did before? We've got 3 squared. What comes after 3 squared? If we're going 3 to the 4th, 3 to the 3rd, 3 squared, 3 to the 1st, then 3 to the, then 3 to the, 3 to the negative 2, 3 to the negative 3, 3 to the negative 4. Okay, so this side's going to be a little bit different. We've got 81. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 times 3 gives us 81. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 gives us 27. So what's 3 times 3? 9. Okay, so what's happening for each of these?
Again, times by 3.
So 27 to get to 9, we did what? We divided by 3. So 9 divided by 3 would give us, okay, 3 divided by 3 gives us, 1 divided by 3 gives us 1/3. What do you think the next one would be?
1/9.
What do you think the next one would be?
127.
And the last one?
181.
One of the key things I want you to see here is, do you see when 3 is to the 0 power, what do we get? 1. Okay? Do you see if they're negatives? All I did is flip it over. It's the reciprocal. Right? So could you do 5 too? What is 5 squared? 25. What is 5 to the 1st power? What is 5 to the 0 power? And then the rest would be fractions. So for number 8 on your sheet, after filling out 3 tables, make a hypothesis for a rule anytime a base is raised to a negative exponent. We kind of answered that. What happens when you raise something to a negative exponent? It becomes a fraction. And we talked about the last one too. After filling out 3 tables, make a hypothesis for a rule anytime a base is raised to the 0 power. It becomes what? 2 to the 0 power was 1. 3 to the 0 power was 1. 5 to the 0 power is 1. So anything raised to the 0 power is 1.